This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Uniform Civil Code and its various aspects. The participants are Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and Satya Prakash, journalist.
Last month, the Law Commission of India decided to invite views and ideas of the public at large and also of various religious organizations on the issue of Uniform Civil Code. And thereafter, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has gone ahead and he had tried to convince the people about the need to have Uniform Civil Code. So how important is this?
As you very rightly mentioned about the Prime Minister's comment recently when he was addressing his party workers in Bhopal, he said that how can a country like India function with dual laws that govern personal matters? And then he accused the opposition of using this issue of UCC to mislead and provoke particularly a community. That is how the entire debate has triggered recently. Of course, as you very rightly said, that the 22nd Law Commission of India on June 14 had sought the views of religious organizations and public on the issue of a uniform civil code. Here, I think it is very, very significant to mention that the Prime Minister for the first time used the term universal civil code rather than uniform civil code. I think it has a meaning because when we say universal, that means it applies to everybody. And when we say uniform, it has some kind of a connotation which can be misconstrued by a particular section of the society. Now let's come to the point. What exactly is Uniform Civil Code? The idea behind the UCC is to have a common set of laws governing personal matters of all citizens, such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, and adoption for all citizens, irrespective of their religious affiliations. Now, India being a diverse country with multiple religions and religious laws, currently has different personal laws for different religious communities. Now, here it is very important to understand what are the different civil codes in India. The major religious communities in India include Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and Sikhs, have their own distinct personal laws. But the Hindu personal laws are derived from the ancient religious texts and customs, and therefore the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 governs marriage and divorce among the Hindus, while the Hindu Succession Act of 1956 deals with inheritance. So under the Hindu Succession Act of 1956, which governs the right of Hindus, Buddhists, Jains and Sikhs, Hindu women have equal right to inherit property from their parents and have the same entitlement as Hindu men. Let's come to the Muslim personal law. See, the Muslims in India follow their Muslim personal law, which is based on the Sharia. The Muslim Personal Law Sharia Application Act of 1937 regulates matters related to marriage, divorce, inheritance, and maintenance among Muslims. Now, for Christians and Parsis and Jews, the Indian Succession Act of 1925 applies. Christian women receive a predetermined share based on the presence of children or relatives. Parsi widows receive an equal share as their children. Now come to what is this controversy about? See, the debate surrounding the Uniform Civil Code in India is actually multifaceted and even often it is seen as polarizing. So therefore it is difficult to convince everybody that when the government talks of a Uniform Civil Code, or now in the new terminology given by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Universal Civil Code. See, India is a country known for its rich religious and cultural diversity. Now, the Constitution of India, it respects everybody. The right given to everybody is to preach and practice one's own religion. That is freedom of religion. And that is the issue among a section of the society, that on the one hand, the Constitution gives us freedom of religion. On the other hand, the government is trying to take it away by having a uniform civil code.
One of the issues have been, like you mentioned rightly, Hindu's law has been reformed substantially to the extent that even the last remaining discriminatory provisions have been done away with. Now, as you mentioned, both men and women, they have equal rights under the Hindu personal law. But same is not correct about other communities. And one of the issues has been the issue of gender equality. How important is UCC point of view of gender equality?
No, incidentally, today members of the Parliamentary Standing Committee and the Ministry of Law and Justice met today to discuss and review of personal laws. And they have invited members from the Department of Legal Affairs, Legislative Department and Law Commission to seek their views also on review of personal laws. See, the buzz is that it may, apart from what you said about the gender equality, it may also affect the taxation structure. So therefore, the debate is very important, and the Government of India is in no hurry to push with the bill. The Government of India also wants a nationwide debate. That is exactly why the Prime Minister triggered the debate. And now, in fact, debate is taking place, and we are now coming across the views from different political parties. Some of the political parties are divided on this issue, but some parties have openly come out in favor of it. So therefore, the debate is very, very relevant. I think this is a very crucial issue on which there has to be a national debate, which is currently going on. And once the monsoon session starts on the 20th of July, I think government may also try to clarify the position that they certainly want a debate rather than run through in Parliament making use of their absolute majority in the Lok Sabha.
One of the issues, in fact, under Article 44 of the Constitution, there is a constitutional mandate for UC because Article 44 says the state shall endeavor to secure for all citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory. Second is there is political mandate. For the last two consecutive Lok Sabha elections, 2014 and 19, BJP has won. And election manifesto both in 2014 and 19, the BJP said that there should be a uniform civil code, and if it comes to power, it will try to introduce a uniform civil code. But what is most important, and the Prime Minister also highlighted it, there is a judicial mandate for uniform civil code also, because the Supreme Court in various judgments right from Keswan and Bharti case in 1973, it has been emphasizing the need to have a uniform civil code. How important this aspect is, that the Supreme Court, time and again, it has been emphasizing the need to have a uniform civil code, and it has been reminding the government of the constitutional obligation to enact a uniform civil code.
See, the founding fathers of our constitution, they were very much aware of this issue, but they preferred to keep it in the directive principles of state policy. Rather than, making it constitutionally mandatory, they left it to the government of the day, any time since the constitution was enforced in 1952. It is up to the government, and therefore it is part of the directive principles of state policy to ensure a common civil code. And that is why the successive government over the last several decades have avoided it. This, in the form of a legislation, it was drafted twice, but the governments never pushed it, because unless there is a consensus, broad consensus in the country, it will not be prudent for any government, including the Modi government, to rush it through. So, directive principles of state policy, in fact, is a directive to the government to implement uniform civil code. That is why it has not happened so far. But incidentally, Goa is the only Indian state which has a uniform civil code, because it was enacted during the Portuguese time and it was never repealed or changed. So in Goa today, we have a successful uniform civil code functioning in the state, and there is absolutely no opposition from any community whatsoever. And all these things which we talk of, the marriage and divorce, maintenance, etc., are uniformly applied to all the communities, and nobody so far has gone to oppose it. So I think by and large, the public opinion in India is in favor of a uniform civil code. I think now onward we should start using the term universal civil code, and some of the states are going ahead with adopting legislations to that effect, including Uttarakhand is taking a lead in that. That is the position right now, but the debate is very healthy, it's going on, and I think the whole country should welcome this debate, and particularly the religious leaders should also come forward and submit their opinion and views to the Law Commission. So hopefully the debate will be constructive, positive and fruitful.
You mentioned about the Uniform Civil Code in Goa. In fact, that's Portuguese Civil Code of 1867. And the Supreme Court in 2019 had cited the Goa example as a shining example of UCC. But one of the issues that you mentioned is about the non-justiciability of UCC. because it's Part 4 of the Constitution, that is Directive Principles of State Policy. But not many people mention it. Article 37 is considered to be key to entire Part 4, that is Directive Principles of State Policy. And Article 37, which actually talks about non-justiciability of entire Part 4, that is Directive Principles of State Policy, it also makes it clear that these principles, that is Directive Principles, are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. And that is why the Supreme Court has been asking the government to implement UCC by enacting a law. Talking about the Supreme Court's reminders to the government, it started in 1973 in Case 1 and Bharti case, in which a 13-judge bench led by then CJI S.M. Sikri had said that though no court can compel the government to lay down a uniform civil code, but it is essentially desirable in the interest of the integrity and unity of the country. And thereafter, in Sahabano's case in 1985, again the Supreme Court said that a uniform civil code will help the cause of national integration by removing disparate loyalties to various laws, or rather conflicting laws. Again in 1995, in Sarla Mudgal's case, the Supreme Court said the same thing. But very recently, in 2015 and 19 also, the Supreme Court said it is time for the government to take a quick decision on the UCC and this entire confusion about personal laws applicable to various communities. But now that there is a constitutional mandate in terms of Article 44, and there is political mandate in terms of two consecutive electoral victories to the government, to the party which says that UCC should be there, and judicial mandate in terms of various verdicts of the Supreme Court in which the court is reminding the government of its constitutional obligation. You rightly mentioned that there should be a debate. But how long will we keep debating?
One pertinent point which you have raised is the political maneuvering part of it. See, so far, unfortunately, some political parties and the leaders have been using this issue for the vote bank politics and trying to appeal to a particular community. So the sensitive nature of the religious identity and the potential impact of minority communities have made it a polarizing topic, unfortunately, and with political calculations often taking precedence over a genuine discussion on the merits and drawbacks of the UCC. Yes. Coming to the point which you raised earlier about the gender equality and women's rights is, see, the proponents of the UCC argue, including the government, that the implementation of a uniform civil code would in fact promote gender equality and women's rights by eliminating discriminatory practices present in some religious personal laws. And it is the argument of protagonists of the UCC is that a common code would ensure equal rights in matters such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, and maintenance. But opponents, their contention is that the gender justice can be achieved within the framework of the existing personal laws also. So therefore, I think there is another dimension of national integration is also involved, because a common civil code would foster national integration by promoting a sense of unity among diverse religious communities, and it will strengthen the secular fabric of the country. But on the other hand, the critics feel that the issue of a UCC is highly complex and sensitive given the diversity of religious beliefs and customs of India. Therefore, there should be a wider and larger debate before a law is enacted. That is what the argument right now is. And therefore, I think the government is not in a hurry, and government also would like to go by the recommendations of the Law Commission, which is trying to entail suggestions and reviews from cross sections of the society before making its report to the Government of India.
So let's hope that after the Law Commission of India comes out with its report, there is further debate on the report, and thereafter the government will go ahead with a decision which will lead to greater national integration. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Uniform Civil Code and its various aspects. The participants were Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and Satya Prakash, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928-909-4044.